Oh boy. I woke up like 3 hours ago now. Did my daily morning browse on eBay and decided there was something that I can't stay quiet about anymore. So sorry that the lighting is terrible and all of that stuff, but I just have to get this off my chest. It feels like these days with the internet, we're sort of spoiled for choice when it comes to buying essentially anything, like guitars included. Thing is that option paralysis comes in many forms, like especially when money is involved. Sometimes option paralysis isn't just an internal conflict, it can be an outer variable which causes this conflict, whether it's features, brands, price. We're always looking for the best price, and from this you've probably stumbled upon sites like AliExpress where they sell knockoff items, and usually it doesn't take too long to realize these things are knockoffs. And this is where, for instruments, sites like Reverb or Musician's Friend, Thomann, Sweetwater, anywhere you can think of that has a sort of secondhand section at least, really come in handy. But us lonely middle of buttfuck nowhere folk have to put up with what I call the dark alleyway you don't want to walk down, but it's literally the only option. That gamble that you have to take. The thing is, Reverb does exist over here, and so does Thomann and some other music shops. The problem is, if you want to use Reverb or Thomann especially, you're going to be doubling your price of the item you're trying to get in shipping alone. Our local music shops rarely have used sections, not to mention we just don't get a lot of cool shit over here. And we do have something called cash converters, which is basically a pawn shop, and it's just where all the musicians sell their broken shit because nobody who works there knows how it works anyway. So I thought I'd preface before that inevitable comment that says, just don't use eBay then. Shut up. What I'm talking about is this awful trend I've realized on eBay recently. That being, they don't fucking care anymore. Let's have a look at a couple of examples that I've found. Starting off with my favorite beautiful Music Man Majesty. Look at this thing. Beauty. Yeah, it's atrocious. They're not even trying. If you look at a real photo of a Music Man Majesty, this is this is what it looks like. Apart from the paint just being awful, you can see the shape isn't even right. And if you're still not completely sold on this, check out this killer description that they've got on this bad boy. Hello friends, welcome to my shop. We are a factory in China. We produce all kinds of electric guitar, electric bass, shaped guitar, and guitar. Can make what you want. The logo, I accept your requirements. Can make the best guitar. Please contact us if need more details, pictures. Thank you. Have happy shopping. If you want to sell our guitars in your country, we can offer you a better price. Of course, we need to work with you for a long time. Yeah, they're not even trying. Best thing about this is that you can't even get sterling majesties for this price, so that's like, oh man, this is such a sick deal. The thing is, they're not all terrible, like looks wise. I mean, more than likely they are in person, but in the photos they look pretty good, like this other Music Man I found, which is honestly pretty convincing. I mean, until you flip it over and get that terrible shriveled plastic protector, which you often get on cheap guitars, is kind of a dead giveaway. And this whole just back section looks terrible. I don't know, that neck looks so rough. It just like, it looks like it's gonna give you splinters, man. Everything about the back of this has the signs of a cheap guitar. You know cheap guitars, you know what I'm talking about. Again, with this one, we got the beautiful description there. I mean, just look at that price. You're not getting a Music Man. It's not a far stretch to say that this is just an absolute ripoff. And here's the thing, they're not only doing that with mega expensive guitars, like BC Rich Avenge incorrectly called a War Beast, which is hilarious. Looks pretty good. Again, I don't know how it's going to look in person. $539. Now, what's interesting about that is that if you look for an Avenge anywhere else, you can find them for less than $600. I literally found one on Reverb while I was looking at this. They're selling a rip-off guitar for no discount. It's insane. Again, got the same beautiful description. And another BC Rich here. Again, BC Riches are not that expensive unless you're getting like the new Stranger Things ones. They're more expensive, but you could find something like this for that price. It's really not going to be hard. And what's interesting with this is that I think through this one, I found their workaround. So we can see it says MYRY, but above that it says Dawn King. I think how they're getting away with this is that they're putting these weird keyboard mashed 3-letter names into the brand field to try and trick the algorithm somehow, and it's not being picked up. Even though we can look at the title here, they're clearly advertising it as a BC Rich. And here's the thing, I've reported these a lot. Every time I see them, I report them, and nothing is happening. And I think it's because of that different brand in the description, and it doesn't trigger the algorithm as anything being wrong. Like, we can look at this here. This is one of the reports I made. This was on a dime bag. It was clearly wrong. I can show you the guitar here. I've reported tons of these though. This is just the only one I actually got a response on. And it says, we looked into your report and didn't find anything that was in violation of our policy. This determination was made by a customer service agent. If you reported content that isn't listed below, we'll send a separate email once we've made a decision. They didn't. Reference ID. Here are the listings that you've reported, blah, blah, blah. They're not doing anything about this. Something about this isn't triggering their algorithm correctly. And when these customer service agents look through it, they probably look up a picture. Sorry, that's my dog yawning. Probably look up a picture and they go, that looks like a BC Rich. That looks like a dime bolt. That looks like whatever it is. And they're not doing anything about it. Still think it's because that brand is incorrect in the description. This is literally in violation of eBay's own T's and C's, terms and conditions to sell an item. You are not allowed to sell counterfeit items on eBay. Full stop. And the problem with this is that with more difficult shapes to reproduce, like these ones, we can see the minor differences, like with the Music Man and all of that, but not all guitars are that hard to replicate. I mean, look at Les Pauls. Les Pauls are probably some of the most expensive guitars on the planet, and they're the easiest to reproduce. And you're probably not going to be able to tell by a couple of good looking photos. They're so easy to reproduce that everybody is getting sued by Gibson for making guitars that look like Les Pauls. How are you going to tell from 4 or 5 photos? You're not. And it's bigger than just this. I mean, if somebody sees a Majesty for the first time, they're going to go, that looks cool. They see John Petrucci playing it on stage. They're like, what guitar is that? They look up what guitar John Petrucci has. They look it up. They see, oh, that's pretty expensive. I'm going to try and find a cheaper one on eBay. They find one of these and they buy them. And they're not going to keep it forever either. Who knows? Like, if it's a pretty good looking copy, you might end up buying it on Marketplace or Gumtree from them later. The thing is, I'm not fully against clones. I think clones can be funny or cool as a wall hanger or even a mod platform if you know it's not real. The problem is when you don't. So if you see this and you care about the you care about guitars, you care about the community, and you see one of these on eBay, report it. At some point we'll get the message across if there's enough of us doing it. We can't just let people upsell and drop ship this AliExpress garbage while trying to advertise it as the real thing. These things are everywhere and they're not always cheap. Look at this dime bolt I found. Dime bolt here for 600 USD. That's 900 AUD. We've got a 600 USD Washburn Stealth here, and we've got a $1,195 Dean dime bag camo which is spelt wrong, and they're trying to sell this as a used guitar, and it's just not real. So all I'm saying is that if the big companies platforming these things aren't even going to look out for us, we have to look out for each other. If you see these, report them, and that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching.